Good afternoon. Today is May 11th of 2016, and welcome to our final webinar, final Wednesday webinar for the 2015-2016 school year. I think it's 15 that we've done now, but I wasn't counting. Real fast, so that we know our audience, at least our live audience, please take a minute to type into the text chat box what school you're from. And I know a few of you have already started doing that. Okay, we have Von Tobel Middle School, Claude Perkins Elementary, Hewitson Elementary, NVLA, Triggs and Treem, Smith. I don't know if it's Smith Elementary or middle school, or which elementary it might be. If there's two of them, and Legacy High School. So welcome to all of you. We're glad to have you with us on this beautiful Wednesday afternoon. I'm looking outside, looking out the window, and thinking how nice it must be to be out there. But I'm glad we're here. Stephanie, you have your hand up. Do you have a question? If you have questions, please type them into the text chat box, and we will do our best to answer those questions as we go. A couple of items of business to take care of. Again, like I said, this session is being recorded. You can go back and view the playback at any time through the same link. Exiting the event so that you can get credit for attending this event in Pathlore. If you are watching it live, in the top right-hand corner of your screen, you see a red X that says exit next to it. Please don't close out the browser window to exit. Please actually exit using the red X that says exit next to it if you're watching it live. If you're viewing the playback, you will see in the bottom right-hand corner something that says log attendance and exit, or something along those lines. Make sure you click on that at the conclusion of the webinar so that you can get credit. We give teachers 2 weeks to view the playback before we enter the attendance into Pathlore. So today, this morning, I entered the attendance for our gamification webinar into Pathlore. The attendance for this will not be entered into Pathlore before May 25th. You can expect it sometime in about the week following May 25th that we will get the attendance into Pathlore. So I'll know that if you email me asking why it doesn't show your attendance in Pathlore, I will know that you weren't paying attention. Not good. I said to enter your questions in the text chat box, and we'll keep going. Introductions. I am Mark Oakton. I'm the coordinator with the instructional technology. I get to work with all of our fine digital coaches. We have Carl with us, and you can see his picture there, and Jesus with his picture. I think he likes to remind us that he got to spend about a month in Europe last summer, while the rest of us were slaving away in the Las Vegas heat. That's Jesus Diaz. Kathy Lefevre should be joining us soon. She had an appointment, and she's almost just texted me she's about to join us, so she will be joining us. You also know Jesus has to rub it in. It wasn't 1 month in Europe. It was 2 months. Thank you, Jesus, for clarifying that. It makes us feel so much better. Okay, today we're talking about screencasting. We're going to talk about why we might want to do screencasting in the first place and some of the uses. Then we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty and how do you do it. Some of the different methods that you can use for screencasting depending upon what kind of equipment you might have. Look at what we do with the videos. Once you've recorded a video, how do you save it? How do you upload it? How do you use it? Go through some tips and troubleshooting and answer any questions that you have. So why do we screencast? If screencasting is used appropriately to provide information to students, it can definitely show an increase in student achievement. One of the things that I really like about screencasting is it provides the opportunity to flip a portion of your classroom, if not all of your classroom, that you can give students the access to materials that they can study and review at their own pace and their own time, their own place, and it allows them to sometimes go back and review things that they might not have grasped the first time. I know that whenever I want to learn something new, what do? I go to YouTube and I look it up, and I watch a video. And if it's something that I'm struggling with a little bit, I might watch the entire video multiple times, or more likely than not, I'll take little segments that I didn't quite grasp on too good enough the first time, and I'll watch those little segments repeatedly until I have that section down. I can start and stop it as I need to. I'll watch a little bit, then I'll stop it, then I'll do that. It gives me that opportunity to practice and get almost individualized instruction there. And when we're flipping our classroom or flipping segments of our classroom using some screencasts appropriately, it can allow students to do that. Those students who are real quick and grasp onto something quickly can also move at their own pace and go and speed it up and go faster. And so it benefits everybody. If you're using it maybe in a center in the classroom, you're able to reach those groups that might have the similar needs as well. And so it's really a powerful tool that we can use. How do teachers use it? Teachers can use it to create training videos for other staff members. I've definitely done that with, I think back to when I first when I was a Thinking Maps trainer about 6, 7, 8 years ago, and I've created little video tutorials about thinking maps for staff members to use. Create videos for students on how to do a certain skill, as well as to provide that content instruction. Blended learning classrooms, it works. I've used it with subs. I've created a video because I knew that the sub couldn't present the material that I would present. I've done some screencasts and then just made it accessible for the sub. All they had to do is hit play, and so even though I was not physically in the classroom that day, the students were able to get some of that material. More than just, not just recording a lecture, but recording the content. Jesus makes a note there that posted videos can also be posted for students that might have missed a class. Yes, I did that quite a bit. A lot of my direct instruction I would record and allow students to access it if they were gone. That way, if they didn't have to be behind, because there is that stretch where students get behind and then it's really, really hard for them to catch up. If we could keep them caught up, it was much easier. Tutorials, demonstrations, and digital storytelling can be used by teachers and by students as they narrate presentations. We all know that you really grasp the material when you have to present it or teach it. And it works for us as teachers, it works for students. When we give students a chance to teach other students, to demonstrate their understanding, to show their work, to illustrate concepts and solve problems, and to explain their thinking as they're doing it, they have a deeper grasp of the material. And when students, there's something about reading silently versus reading out loud. If there's that voiceover of reading a story, that tends to solidify their understanding a little bit more than necessarily just reading it in their heads. So the different ways to screencast that we're going to show are how do you do it from a computer using web-based tools, web-based apps, as well as software that you can install on the computer. Look at some of the other tools, some of the tools you can use like document cameras, and we have the different types of document cameras listed there. How you can do this from an iPad or a tablet device with some of the apps that are available. And if you have an interactive whiteboard, such as a smart board, then you can also use that to screencast. So there are quite a few ways, and so, I'm sure that a lot of teachers might have many of these tools, so it's a matter of finding what you like best, what works best for you, what works best for your students. The web-based methods, my personal favorite is Screencast-O-Matic, and I think it's my favorite because it gives you 15 minutes, whereas the others tend to be about 5 minutes worth of material that you can save. With that said, I'm going to give a little disclaimer here. From doing it the wrong way, Screencast should not be used to record an entire lecture and just think, oh, I can just give it once and then play it for my kids and never have to talk to them again. I wasn't that bad, obviously. But when you're flipping instruction, when you present creating videos, I recommend that you keep them very, very short. I have a short attention span. If you're giving me a video that's more than 5 or 7 minutes, I tend to tune out a little bit. I'm looking at the timer right now. I'm at 10 minutes and 28 seconds. Some of you are probably tuning out. But the big red X there says no. I'm going to disable some cameras here. People that are just joining us. We don't. Elliot, thank you for making me feel a little bit better. He says that's nonsense to the tuning out. But kids have short attention spans. Adults, we have short attention spans. Don't record a 45-minute lecture, post it online, and expect your kids to actually view it. I did that with a pre-AP class that I was teaching once, thinking, oh, I don't have time to teach this, so I'm just going to have them do it at home. Bad idea. Don't do what I did. Do as I say, not as I do here. It didn't work well. I learned from it. I didn't have anybody guiding me or coaching me through this process to realize that wouldn't be effective. Okay, so Screencast, you have 15-minute segments, very, very easy to install on your computer, and the beautiful thing about it is it automatically creates it as an MP4 file, which is the universal file that you really want to use. Jing is a great tool. I probably use Jing, not the screencast side of it, but the screen saving of just little images, 5 or 10 times a day for different things that I'm doing. So those are real easy tools that you can use. If you are one of the many people, the growing number of people who is using a Chromebook or who uses the Google Chrome browser, then these are some great tools. These are extensions that you can use. TechSmith, which is the company that does Jing, has a Chrome browser extension called Snagit, which is really, really a neat tool for doing screencasts. Super easy to use. I was playing around with it yesterday. Anyone can do it. It's so easy that there really isn't a learning curve. And the same with Screencastify. Both are so simple to use. They don't require any downloads on your computer. All you have to do is to install the app into your Chrome browser. That will work if you're on a PC. It will work if you're on a Mac. It'll work if you're using a Chromebook. So those are some great tools just for your information. With that, we're going to have a little demonstration. These tools all really work the same, so we could demonstrate all of them, which would kind of be redundant. If you see how to use one of them, then you can really use any of them. So Jesus is going to take over our screens and do a little demonstration of how to use Screencast-O-Matic.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and change the screen here so you guys will be able to see what's happening on my desktop. Okay, so I went to the website screencastomatic.com and I downloaded the Screencast-O-Matic installer, which hopefully you guys are all viewing on your screen there. And if I click on Screencast-O-Matic and go ahead and start the Screencast-O-Matic, what will happen now is you have a pro feature and you have use the free version. And of course, being a teacher, I am going to use the free version because I don't have that much money. So, having said that, the first thing you do when you see when you turn on Screencast-O-Matic is you get these little lines that go around your screen, and you could adjust them so that you can record only portions of the screen, or if you want to record the whole thing, you can move it around, and hopefully this is all appearing on your screen so you can see what I'm doing. So if I wanted to show the kids how to open up the start menu, all I could do is I could just record this portion here. Okay, so I'm only going to record this portion here, and you notice that it says toggle record pause with Alt-P. So if I hold down Alt and I press the letter P, it's going to give me a countdown, 3, 2, 1, go. So now everything that is happening in this little portion of the screen is going to get recorded as a video. It's also recording my voice. So I just wanted to show the kids that I can go to the Start menu, and if I wanted them to open up Microsoft Word, I could click on All Programs. I could go up to Microsoft Office. I could go to Microsoft Word, and that is how you open up Microsoft Word. Again, remember that this is only recording this portion here. So anything that happens on the right-hand side of my little screen on the right will not get recorded. So once I am finished, I can go ahead and click Alt-P one more time. And now it says it's paused. And so down here on the bottom, you can see where it says restart or done. If I click done, now you'll notice that I can push play and I can. Sorry, that was very loud for me. Hopefully it wasn't too loud for you. But you notice
Actually,
that it only.
we don't get to hear the system sound, so we can see the video. And if you're viewing this, you're not going to hear the sound of the recording. That's just the way it works with Saba. So as we show you examples with the playbacks, you won't hear those system sounds. You only hear us speaking most likely.
Okay, so what you're seeing here is just a portion of my screen, and notice that it recorded where my cursor was at the time. And over here on the right-hand side, it gives you three options of publishing the video you recorded. If I just choose Publish to Video File, what that does is it allows me to save this as an MP4, either full size, HD size, and I could either record it with audio, or I could choose Remove Audio. So say that I didn't want it to record any of my voice on here, or if something was happening in the background and it's a bad recording, you could always just remove the audio. You would hit Save Video, and as soon as you do that, it'll say, where do you want to save your video? Well, I could save it onto the desktop. I could save it onto my S drive, anywhere that I have access to save. And I would just rename it. This is How to Open Word. Okay, and I chose the desktop. I would hit save. It takes a minute and it will render the video as an MP4, and then you'll have the option to save that anywhere where the students can access it. Google Drive, Dropbox, even post it up into YouTube, anywhere that you want to save it to. Okay, and having shown you how easy that is, let me go ahead and close this and close this, and you'll notice that now on my desktop I will have an icon called How to Open Word MP4, and there's the video that I just created for anyone to have access to it. Okay, I'm going to get out of the screen share now and go back to the presentation. Okay, and I believe we are back to the Screencast-O-Matic. Okay.
Thank you, Jesus. I'm going to turn it. Let's take a moment. If you have any questions about that, go ahead and type them into the text chat box right now. We'll pause for just a second and answer those questions before we get to this transition.
If any of you feel uncomfortable with doing one of these screencasts, remember that each of you has a digital learning coach that you can ask for assistance, and they will be more than happy to help you out with either installing this or just creating a few practice screencasts so you guys can share.
All right, seeing no questions, we're going to go on. Carl's going to talk about some of the desktop software that you can use.
All right. Jesus actually showed using the Screencast-O-Matic as a desktop app, although it is also a web app. On the Mac side, you've got a couple. Camtasia is a paid piece of software. It's both on PC and Mac, and it's a really advanced piece of software you can do a whole lot with. But for just capturing your screen, sometimes there are a couple free ones. VLC is a software. A lot of your SBTs have already installed it on your computers because it's a great tool for opening just about any video file for playback. But on the Mac, there's also QuickTime. And I'd like to go ahead and show you how to use QuickTime because it's a free tool, once again, that you can use on your Mac. So I'm going to, I don't think Let's see. Yeah, whoa, I didn't mean to do that. All right, so I'm going to do a quick screen share. All right, I can't tell if you all can see my desktop or not, but I'm going to do a screen share. So here's my screen, and I'm going to come down here and open the QuickTime Player, which is a free app. It's no longer the QuickTime Pro that you used to have to download, but this is now the QuickTime Player that's included in your operating system. So I open QuickTime Player, and up here in the File menu, I hope everybody can see this because I can't see what you see on the file. Can everybody follow me? Somebody type in the text chat a yes or a no.
We can follow you.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure because I can't see what's going on there. All right, so I'm going to go here, and under File, I'm going to go to New Screen Recording. And when I do that, I've got a little thing here. I can actually choose to add, if I want to use some other input that's on my screen, I can do that. I can also do, this is my microphone input, so I can use my internal microphone or my headset that I'm on right now, so that I can record audio as I go. So I can pick my headset. Then it's basically you click the little red record button, and then you can either record the whole screen, or as it says right here, you can drag and drop a square, sort of like Jesus did. And now I've got a drop in there. I can start recording, and now it's recording what's on my screen. And I can go ahead and move things around. There's my text chat, so you can see my text chat in there, or I can come and open another app up or whatever I want to do. And then you can't see it. I don't know if you can see it or not, but at the top of the screen, there's another button to stop recording. And it stops recording, and it opens up a video so you can play back that to see what it says. And then when you close it, it will ask you where you want to save it. So I can just say screencast, and I'm just going to put it on my desktop and click save. And so now, and I can't get to on my desktop over here is the video that's screencast. So when I open it, I can play it and it'll play everything. You can see my mouse moving around and stuff. So now if I can quit the app share. Mark, is there any way that you can turn off my app share? Oh, there we go.
I turned mine on and turned it back off. All right, that works.
All right.
Thank you, Carl. All righty. We're going to move on to talk about document cameras, and we have our favorite furry friend here. And here I am, the slow one, thinking, and I created this, put this in the presentation. And yesterday, as we were reviewing it, I'm like, what in the world are we doing with Elmo in the presentation? I was having a slow moment there. Elmos, Kathy. since you're here, we're going to turn this over to you. Welcome.
Yeah, well, I'm here. Hey, this is Kathy Lefevre, and I'm a digital coach and just got online. You can record any video you want underneath a document camera. You can do this underneath the white Elmo, the black Samsung, or the red lumens, we call that one, and then there's IPVO, and there's some others, but those seem to be the 4 that we see the most. The process is basically the same between these. You have to be connected to the USB to your computer, and then you have to use the software that comes, the correct software that comes with that device. And you're going to need a microphone. For those of you who have laptops, then you can use that built-in mic if your laptop has a microphone. We don't recommend recording directly using the software that comes with your device, your document camera, whether it's the Elmo or the other ones that I mentioned. The reason being is because we found out and we discovered that even though we can record, that there's a delay time between your hand moving or you writing and your voice, and so it just doesn't come out that nice. But we did discover when we opened up your image using right on your desktop of your computer, and then using a software such as Screencast-O-Matic or Snagit or Jing or whatever else you can find. I think Jesus demonstrated that earlier. Then you just drag that Screencast-O-Matic screen around the picture of whatever you're projecting on your computer with on the Elmo or the document camera, and you simply record it, and it works perfect. And again, we want MP format. So these are easy to do, and at the end of the presentation, we'll show you where I have examples of teachers who are actually using document cameras to make recordings. Very, very simple to do. So again, the black Samsung, same type of thing. If you need to have that microphone, it needs to be connected to USB, and you have to have the right software. If you're using the Samsung black camera, document camera, make sure you don't have the new, for some reason the newest software, it crashes or it freezes. You have to use this old version with the SDP 860. And you can contact your digital coach or contact your tech person and see. It's got to be the older software. I do have a copy of it if anybody wants it. Same procedure as the Elmo. You connect it USB, you start the software for that document camera, make sure you got the microphone to your computer, and then you start a software such as, once you see the image, start Screencast-O-Matic or any other screen capture software, drag it around that picture, press record, and you're on your way to making an easy screencast. And the red lumens does the same exact thing, same procedure. How many of you have this red lumens? Give us or actually, does anybody have the red lumens? Give us a green check mark if you do. Just curious, did anybody seen these? They're only at a few schools. I know Mark has seen them over at Shadow Ridge.
Yes, this was that was fancier than what I was able to use.
We used to call it the lady. Yeah, it was fancy. Go ahead.
I had the $15 IPVO with no light.
And the IPVO works too. That little tiny one that's really, really cheap. But yeah, we used to call this the ladybug. And these were really popular early in the 2000s. But one of my favorite, I love the Elmo because it's bright, but I really like that Samsung. Either one of those, excellent. You have those in your room, you might as well use them. It's a perfect way to capture some recordings for kids. And again, on this slide here, it just kind of says everything. I just went over those 3. It's the same procedure for everything. And you want to save it to the desktop. If you use Screencast-O-Matic or one of those screen recording softwares, make sure it's always in an MP4 format, and save it to your desktop and then upload it to your Google Drive. And then you can go from there and share with kids and wherever else you want to put it, YouTube, etc. So if there's any questions, post those down in the chat, and I'm going to hand it back over to Mark.
Actually, I think this is Carl, and I think I'm going to take over on the iPads and tablets side of things. Mainly, we'll talk about mainly the stuff I know that works on iPads. I know Explain Everything is available on the Android tablet now, but Doceri is free, and Explain Everything costs $2.99. That's what I like to refer to people as being a Starbucks. You know, so it's basically one Starbucks for Explain Everything. Those are the two we recommend. There are two other softwares out there. EduCreations is a freebie, and Show Me is another freebie. The difference between Doceri and Explain Everything and EduCreations and Show Me is that you have to create student and teacher accounts to use EduCreations and Show Me, and they don't save to your tablet or your iPad camera roll. Or with Doceri or Explain Everything, you can save whatever work you've done to your camera roll. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and show you what Doceri looks like a little bit. With the caveat, I think I need to make the caveat that with the screencasting we've shown you on the desktop, you can record your whole desktop. You can't, with any software on the iPads or tablets, create your whole desktop. You have to use screenshots and stuff and then bring them into one of these if you want to create screencasts, or use some software that you can mirror your iPad onto your desktop and use desktop software like Screencast-O-Matic or something to record everything. But there are some cool things you can do with the Doceri and such. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you again. Maybe. All right, so I'm sharing my desktop. I'm going to pull up this. Mark, can everybody see the desktop there of the Doceri?
Yes, we can see the Doceri desktop now. Be aware there's probably going to be a little bit of a lag there as you're speaking, Carl.
Oh, okay.
Just because we're dealing with a couple of different pieces here.
Yeah, I know this stuff always works. Actually, what I've done on the Doceri to show you this is another cool thing is I've actually have my iPad hardwired into my computer using the lightning cable. So, and then I'm using QuickTime again to demonstrate everything. So as you see...
So real fast, just so everyone's clear, what you're actually seeing here on Carl's laptop is the image from his iPad. So you're looking at his iPad through the desktop.
As you can see up here at the top is a menu bar with all sorts of different tools, including the record tool. You can add, over here you can add screens to it. You can pick a pin and change the color to whatever you want the color to be. And then you can write on the desktop. You also have a felt pen and a highlighter. Once again, by holding down on the icons, you can get in here and change the color. So my highlighter, I can highlight in green and stuff. To record, you just click the record button, and I start recording, and now it's recording everything I do. I can add a image from my library. Here we go. We'll just throw a selfie in there. Isn't that fun? And when I'm done, I can pause the recording or stop the recording. and it's going to ask me where to put it, or it's going to save it here to my desktop, and there it is, Untitled 2. So when I close out, then I can go select this, let me close out again. When I want to select it, I can select it, and then I can come down here to the bottom, and I can click the open in, and then I can put it into my Google Drive or wherever else I want to put it. So that's that's basically the way most screencasting works on your iPad. Any questions about that? All right, well, I think we're on to the next screen.
Thank you, Carl. Jesus is going to take a minute to talk to us about how we can screencast off of your interactive whiteboard.
Okay, so with your interactive whiteboards, most of them have built-in recorders. I've been working with Smartboard mostly. Promethean, I believe, has a recorder as well. So when you install the software for your Smartboard, such as Notebook, it will install a recorder on there. So I'm going to do a quick app share just to show you where you can find this. I'm going to hit. Okay. Now you guys are all seeing my desktop. So I have the Smart software installed on my computer. So down here on the bottom near my clock, I'm working on the PC here. I'm not sure exactly where this would be located on the Mac version because I'm not a Mac person. But if you click on the little Smart tool icon down here, you will notice that you have a button for recorder, and you will see that it will have a menu pop up, and it will allow you to hit record, and it's going to start recording. Right now it's telling me that it's recording at 8 frames per second. Anything that's happening on my desktop, it's going to get recorded. I am going to push stop, and then it's going to say, where do you want to save it? Once again, I'll just save it on the desktop. And notice that it saves this one from Smart. We'll save it as a WMV file, which is a Windows media file. I'm not sure if on the Mac it will switch it over and save it as a MP4 or something that's compatible with Macs. But this is working off of a PC here, off of a laptop. So I could just name it whatever I want to name it. Right now it's going to name it as May 11th. By default, I could change the title. I'm going to hit save. And then it will tell you that it's going to take a few seconds or a few minutes, depending on how long you actually record. It's going to record it. It says recording successful. I could either play the recording, which I'm going to select that for now. I'm going to hit OK. So now you're watching a recording of my app share. So I'm going to exit out of this and exit out of my Windows media file here. Okay. And if I minimize this screen here, you'll notice that, minimize this. You'll notice that that recording is located here now. Okay. Again, the previous recording that I did using Screencast-O-Matic was an MP4. It opens up with QuickTime on my PC. This one was a WMV file, which is going to open up with my Windows Media Player. Okay. And having shown you that, I am going to go ahead and quit my app share and move on to the next screen. You do this, the Promethean software is very similar to the Smartboard software. Okay. I cannot remember if it's me that's supposed to speak on saving, so.
Yes, it's still you.
Okay, that's what I thought. Everybody was quiet. Okay, so saving your videos. I showed you that on my on the smart software is saved it as a WMV file, which it is. You can view that on many different devices, but it's not as clean as saving it as an MP4. The MP4s will play on pretty much all devices, so we would suggest that you guys save everything as an MP4. You can convert your WMV files or any other files that you have into the MP4 using different software, web-based software, or iTunes, or any of those other converters that you can find. You want to make sure that before you post anything and you share it, you want to save or view it and check it for quality. Maybe your voice didn't record well, or maybe there was some noises in the background. When we were doing some videos recordings using Doceri in one class, we had many students were speaking at the time, and so you just heard a lot of background noise over, and it was difficult to hear what the students were recording on the devices. So you want to make sure that you can, that you do have a clean video before you share it or save it anywhere. We do recommend that you upload these to your Google Drive or even straight into YouTube. Everyone in the district does have a Google account, students, teachers. All student accounts are not activated. Most of them are, if the school is a Google school, but all teachers do have an activated Google account. So you can save it to your Google Drive and then share from there to anyone that you give permission to view these videos. You also have a YouTube channel with your CCSD Google account, and you can just go ahead and share into these videos into your YouTube channel, so anyone in the world can see your videos if you give them permission to. Once you've posted it, before you share the link, make sure that you log in or you log out as yourself and log in as a student or somebody else, and test it on different devices. Test it on iPhone, smartphones if you have one, on PC, on Mac, just to make sure that it works okay, because you might have to redo the video and that will make your presentation a little bit better. Tips, I believe we will turn this back over to Mark.
Thank you, Jesus. A couple of items. Kathy noted in the text chat box that the Promethean Active Inspire has that built-in recording feature just like the Smart Notebook does. And Carl, who is our resident expert on all things Mac, has indicated that if you're using the Smart Notebook recording feature on the Mac, it'll save as a QuickTime MP4 file. So that will not need to be converted at all if you're doing it off of a Mac. Although we know that most of our smart boards in our schools are hooked up to PCs. All right, some tips. I've mentioned this before. Keep your screencasts short. Don't overwhelm yourself by thinking that you have to do these huge, long recordings. Keep them brief. It'll make life easier for you, and your students will certainly appreciate it. White space. Wow, this did not come over very well as it converted from the PowerPoint. You don't want to have a whole ton of white space. You don't want dead space in your recordings. So create your files that you're recording so that it really focuses in on what you're doing and that there's not an excessive amount of dead space. And like anything else, this takes practice. The first time you do it, you'll go back and listen to yourself in the recording, and you'll do what I always do. I absolutely hate listening to myself. I think I have the worst voice for radio, even though I might have a face for radio. Nobody's even going to chuckle. All right, bad jokes. None of us like to hear ourselves, but practice. We tend to, as we're recording, if we're not doing something in front of a real live audience that's in front of us, and this is something that we face as we're doing these webinars, it is really, really easy for us to just start talking fast. And part of it's because we don't see the people in front of us and their reactions, so we don't have anything to gauge how they're receiving it. It's really tough speaking to an audience that you can't see. whether it's in real time like we're doing right now or a playback. So practice and be very, very careful to speak slowly without sounding like a robot. As well as you're practicing your writing, if you are using one of the Docery or Explain Everything, one of those iPad apps, and you're writing on the screen with your finger, be very cautious. Be very, to write legibly. If you're doing something where you're writing with your mouse, there is nothing worse than my handwriting when I'm trying to write with a mouse. Look at your placement of text, graphics, and backgrounds. Don't do what you see in front of you on the tip screen with the picture covering over some of the words or a portion of the word. Like I said, it didn't convert as it came from PowerPoint. It didn't convert well. And go back and listen to the quality of your video and your audio, making sure that that your audio, your voiceover, matches the video. Like Kathy said, with the Smart Notebook software, there's some lag time. I know when I tried doing it with Mimeo software, there was a serious lag time, about 15 seconds actually, where I would do something and you wouldn't hear the explanation of it until 15 seconds later. Document camera lags as well. So make sure that your audio and your video are syncing with each other. And if they're not, then you'll want to try one of the other pieces of software to make that work. And to make sure that your audio is loud enough but not too loud. Anything that I'm missing there, Kathy, Jesus, or Carl?
No, I think you did good.
All righty. Some resources, and I'm going to switch gears here. We're waiting for Saba to catch up. Okay, we have this bit.ly, and I'll give you the link in just a second. We have a bit.ly with some resources for you that can give you access to some of the things that Carl and Jesus and Kathy have put together. An example of screencasting using Screencast-O-Matic is there, as well as using the document camera. Examples of what it might look like to screencast using a smart board and a Promethean board, and some YouTube videos on screencasting with an iPad using Docery and Explain Everything. We have Kathy Schrock, which is one of the big gurus on using technology in the classroom, has guides to everything, and a guide to screencasting there that you would do well to have a look at, as well as some research on why we'd want to screencast. And of course, we have to do some promotion. There is a PDE course on producing instructional videos for online delivery, because if you are doing a screencast, chances are your students are going to access it online. I'm being told to scroll up. Oh, I guess I'm scrolling. You can't see my scrolling. Okay, so everyone that's watching this needs to scroll up, because I can't scroll up for you. There's a Tier 2 course in the Blended and Online Certification Program that has to do with this video production, which is definitely very, very useful. Kathy, did you want them to take a second to look at any of these resources before I move on?
No, I think we're good as long as you go back and let them have time to write down that bit.ly.
Okay, take a minute. There's the bit.ly, which is just a shortened URL for you to write down. Don't try to click on it. The link is not live in your video feed. Take a second to write that down, and that will give you access to that Google Doc that I just showed you with all the resources. And of course, you can always, always, always contact your digital coach for a hand. All right, give me a green check when you're ready when you're done there. All right, I think that's probably just about everybody. Thank you so much for showing up for our last webinar of the year. We certainly appreciate your time. We know that your time is very, very valuable, and we hope that this was valuable for you as well. Again, contact your digital coach if you need assistance, or any of us would be glad to provide some feedback for you. Before you leave, can I ask you to take a quick exit survey? And when you're exiting, again, click on the red X that says exit at the top right-hand corner of your screen. If you're viewing this live, in the playback, you're going to click log attendance and exit on the lower right-hand corner of your screen. If you have questions, you're more than welcome to hang around and ask the questions in the text chat box, and we will answer those. Other than that, have a wonderful evening and a wonderful summer. By the way, we will be offering some webinars during the summertime. If you attend those webinars, attending 3 of those webinars will get you 1 CU. Let's put that survey back up. 3 webinars will be 1 CU if you want to attend some of those over the summer. And that information will be going out to schools. It's already gone out to the principals, so they should have that. But if you need more information, please contact me and I will send you that information. Thank you again. I'm going to go ahead and end and stop the recording, and we'll stick around and answer questions.